Welcome back to the Order of Twats. And yeah, let's visit this place.
You're gonna catch pneumonia, Galahad. Don't you have anything to cover?
You know, too, I don't know why. A lot of people seem to think that characters just standing out in the rain is somehow deep and meaningful.
I mean, it is.
It can be a good visual image. Like, it can be a good...
Yeah, it is. It's just also, dampening to the health.
Anyway, so Pedro, you and Tio asked a few parts ago about what was the first game in the history of health regeneration in video games. I did a bit of digging and did some research on that, and the answer may surprise you.
Go on.
See, now, my research has found that many people think that Halo was the first game to ever have health regeneration.
I played for the first Halo recently. I can tell you the Halo has a health bar, so no.
Yeah. It's a misconception people have. However, it was not even in the first Halo game. It was added in Halo 2. But believe it or not, Halo 2, even that isn't the first game involving health regeneration. In fact, the first game to have health regeneration wasn't even a first-person shooter, believe it or not.
Okay.
No, the first game with that feature was a little old NES title by the name of Punch-Out!
Oh, okay, yeah, technically, that kind of is that. Except it doesn't quite work in the same way, so I don't know if I'd put it in the same category, but...
It is counted amongst that category, seeing as how it is the progenitor of it, even if it's...
Go.
To be fair, not all health regeneration systems work the same, so it's fair beans to consider Punch-Out! The first game. It was neat concept at the time here, meant to help stimulate, stuff like, again, stamina of a boxer in that
I forgot,
regard.
does Daikatana have health packs or regenerating health?
It does.
Alright, let's focus.
Yeah, let's focus.
But yeah,
now we need
in
to
terms
use
of the first...
crossbows.
Yes, because we gotta go discreet here.
Yes, basically, since
again, we're going up against the United...
So here we are with the Masters of Secrecy.
This is before silencers were invented, so they have to use other kinds of weapons for...
let's not forget, guys, we're going up against the United Company, a publicly very well-renowned company in British public.
Basically, the idea is we're going to go in there to try to find evidence that Lord Hastings is secretly doing some nefarious shit with the vampires, so...
So in that regard, this has to be handled with tact here. So you know what? I guess good on them for taking their time's equivalent of silencers.
In the meantime, if you take this detour instead of following Lucan immediately, you can actually find a collectible here. So let's get it.
Was that Lucan who said, "Where are you going?"
I'm not even kidding. I randomly found. I just kind of veered off the path randomly, like without even thinking, and I found this. So.
Hey, look at that, guys! It's not a completely scripted game, I guess.
To be perfectly honest with you guys, when I got to this point in the game, I was basically just on autopilot because I was just so done with this game by this point.
Believe that.
So just like the game itself.
Most importance. The Black Wolf docks have been set ablaze by the suspected actions of the rebellion. Those remain true to our cause by not influencing the current events. Many in the group believe that we are soon arriving at a point where action might need to be taken by our ranks.
Okay, you know what? This is actually a good pickup here, seeing as how it does talk about the conflict between the round forces and the rebellion.
It mentioned the events of the docks, what we did with Lakshmi.
Anyway, see, my thing about these audio logs is that it's the same problem I had with Quantum Break, where you just have to pause the game and just sit here and wait as the voice actor drones out and just takes his sweet time reading the text.
For people who like to view audio logs like this, all the more power to you, but why would it be so hard to give people, the choice? Granted, I guess they did that to avoid segments where you could run into a cutscene while the audio log is still playing.
Oh, gee, maybe you should not make your game too focused on those, then.
Not just that,
I know, right?
I mean, Phantom Pain had a huge amount of audio logs, but here's the thing about it came out in the same year as this game. Actually, here's the thing: in Phantom Pain, you can actually play the game while listening to those things.
Well, honestly, it's
Does
the
that even
norm
the
to be able to
progenitors
play the
exist?
game while listening.
Oh, hold on. I want to comment on this. Okay, so we're supposed to jump there. I'm just waiting for Lucan to take his time. All right, so
What happens if you do it while
Oh,
it's on
oh no,
there?
press triangle, and there you go. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Quite possibly the most pointless QTE I've ever seen in a game.
Okay,
For a
okay.
second, my
calling.
mental was rolling through my
But
forehead.
but Pedro,
Yes,
Pedro,
Dibs.
the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game on Mega CD exists.
Okay, fine.
Okay, I forgot about that.
Watch Spoonie's review. It's a long time to explain.
Okay.
Just watch Spoonie's review.
I mean,
Intelligence does pan out. Trustworthy man, it seems. Not really.
but yeah, no. I mean, at this point, the game is well aware of how boring it is, so it pulls in those random QT moments just to jolt the player awake.
Okay, so we have to locate an anchor point. I'm not doing it right now because I want to let them finish the conversation, because if I throw the anchor point, it interrupts the conversation. So, yeah, basically, for reasons that you're about to see in a moment, this is actually like about my third, fourth time recording this part, because let's just say I have a problem with the way the stealth section we're about to get into is done.
Done.
Oh, I thought you were going to pull a hitman and shoot something, and it will fall onto the target and make it look like an accident.
Sorry,
Dibs. These are cops. We shouldn't be trying to kill potentially innocent people.
hold on, he's here.
Do be careful. My sister wouldn't forgive me if I were to return alone.
This is now the second time he's done that thing, and yeah, that's the extent of Lucan's characterization. Please, Galahad, don't die, or my sister will be sad. That's that's literally the most characterization he gets.
If I recall correctly, Igraine's his sister, right?
Igraine is his sister, yes.
Yeah.
So basically, again, that's a little hinting that Igraine has feelings for Galahad.
Yeah. But the game will never go anywhere with this, so it doesn't
that
matter.
the game will not act on.
Hold on.
Okay, good. Just
Whoa, what the fuck?
Fuck.
Galahad! Why?
Galahad, you are aware that these...
Oh my god! Oh, so that's his excuse. There's no time. You have to understand me. Like,
Who are you, James Rolfe?
Lucan just pointed out it's unwise to kill these guards without proof that Hastings is up to some shady stuff.
I mean, he's doing a pretty shit job saying don't do it. So he's not exactly. So the other guy isn't exactly innocent to this either. He's pretty much saying the equivalent of "don't come back."
Okay, Dwibs. To his credit, one, he can't be too loud, otherwise he'll alert the guards to his presence.
Okay.
Two, he is trying to calmly tell him this is a bad idea.
I think it's now.
He's not outright stopping him.
Basically, okay, so here's the problem of this stealth section. You can, like, if you get caught, you get an insta kill and you get booted back to the beginning. Thing is, my problem with that is that Galahad, you have a gun. Why can't this work like so many other stealth-based games do, where if you do get caught, you can still at the very least try to defend yourself? But no, Galahad somehow becomes incapacitated in his gun usage if Bobby spots him.
Gets shot.
Well, remember, Pedro, he can't use guns because that would give away his position.
But he already has his position given when he gets caught. That's the whole thing.
My guess is that he doesn't want other guards to be alerted to his position.
That being said, let's
that committed to not using guns in the sequence.
Here's what you do. You have to be careful about that QTE when you press triangle. Why? Because you have to press specifically when the line reaches the inside of the circle, which can be a bit hard to get right because sometimes the QTE doesn't work properly. Here's what I recommend. Make sure you are right dead set behind the guy's back, because if you try to approach these guards from an angle, the QTE sometimes fucks up. So you'd think that, I mean, how did this not get caught in playtesting? Or maybe I just answered my own question. There was no playtesting, thank you. Also, yeah, let's address the elephant. Let's address the elephant in the room. Galahad, what the fuck are you doing? You are right that these constables are just doing their job, right? They have no blame in any of this.
Now, to be fair, apparently they're company guard, so they may or may not be.
Even so,
this, but even still, the story itself literally points out the big issue here. He's doing this without actual proof.
Not just that, remember,
The gods are guilty by association, so they must die.
Not just that. Even if the United India Company is evil, these guards are just workers who are just working, and as far as we can tell, are completely don't know anything about what's going on in the company itself. They're just typical constables doing their everyday job. Why can't you just knock them out?
Like, games tend to do.
I mean, I know I keep bringing this up, but in Hitman, yeah, you can either kill the guards or knock them out. I mean, the big danger then is you have to try and hide the bodies, otherwise the guards will. We'll see the body and alert them to your presence. Potentially.
Yeah, same thing in every Metal Gear game since Metal Gear Solid 2. In Metal Gear Solid 1, there's no way to take them out. You always kill them, but starting with Metal Gear Solid 2, you can stun them.
Honestly, there's tons of games that allow you to just knock out instead of kill. But, hey, guys, this very game has instances where we've knocked people out instead of killing them.
Yeah, it does.
Why not set in those mechanics for the sequence?
It's so weird.
I'm convinced. They made this gameplay segment intent on making it that you kill enemies, but didn't realize that at this point in the game, it would be dumb to kill enemies. So they had the writers add in that little bit about Galahad saying that, oh, there's no time, and boom. That's the reason we're killing enemies here.
Combining this with that stupid out-of-nowhere ramble moment that Galahad had a couple parts ago, are you honestly telling me that all it took was for Sir Percival to die, for Galahad to go insane and become a complete sociopathic murderer? Like, I'm starting to feel that Galahad always had deep emotional issues, and Percival was just the trigger.
Or that this game is missing a lot of stuff.
Well, I can only judge what I have here, so...
Okay, if the twist of the story was that Galahad was in the wrong and he was just going insane, that might have at least made sense of things. I'm not even going to act like that would have been a good plot, because, look, even without factoring in how the plot doesn't make sense, this plot has been joyless. It has not been fun. It has not been motivating in any way whatsoever. I think even Virgil would decry this as something that takes away motivation.
It's because the characters... See, here's the thing. The game tries to takes itself completely and utterly seriously. There's zero comedy in this thing. Like, at most, you'll get like a small little line from Igraine or whatever. But like, for the most part, there's not really any comedy. The game takes itself utterly, completely seriously, which would be fine if it had the good writing to back it up, but it does not. The characters are bland.
No dwifts.
Or at the very least, if you can't write good characters, at least go all the way and just go complete over-the-top action fast. At least that would be fun.
Oh no, guys. The district has been paralyzed by power failure.
Yeah, basically.
What's going on in England?
Oh no, whatever. Like I said, Jova, whatever. Whatever, Jova. England is always in turmoil. That's just how they are.
But yeah, going back to Pedro's point, I mean, if they wanted to play it seriously, that could be fine too.
Yeah.
But the issue is that, nothing really comes together to make it feel like we're getting anywhere productive. Like, keep in mind, Galahad is only going down this route because he was initially going for revenge against the rebellion. Like, it was kind of a bit of a stretch to get from A to B, but I guess just coincidentally, his path of revenge against the rebellion has revealed that the very system that he works for might be corrupt. Now look, I'm not saying this sort of story can't be done or can't be worked, but it feels like they're meshing in at least 4 different plots with no sense of rhyme or reason. There's the plot about Galahad and the werewolves. There's the plot with the rebellion. There's now this corruption with the United Kingdom. Not to mention the earlier thing going on between Galahad and Igraine, which gets absolutely dropped.
Yeah.
What even is the main plot of this game?
Supposedly it's to stop Lord Hastings from spreading vampires all over the world.
Oh yeah, that's right. We included vampires when, again,
like I said, I don't think having both vampires and werewolves in the same game is necessarily a bad idea.
Oh no, it's not.
Even for a game like this, and the idea of having the order potentially having to deal with all sorts of supernatural creatures, and up until this point, we knew only about werewolves.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like it's like Dr. Lojado once said. The plot twist in that warehouse is okay. Turns out the person that we didn't even know was the villain is dealing with creatures that we didn't even know existed up until this point. So that's why the plot twist falls flat, because the game up until this point has been primarily about werewolves, and then suddenly in the last third, suddenly vampires. So it's just like.
This is my main point about how the vampires feel like a completely different plot here.
Yeah.
I would have just rather we had the Knights of the Round be going against all form of supernatural creatures that stalk humanity, but nope, as far as they know, only... Well, okay, the weird thing is that Galahad doesn't even act that too surprised by vampires, so like, which is it? Do you guys go after all supernatural beings, or is Galahad just the special one that knows about vamps?
Why would it be a good idea to stay off the communicator for now? Well, what does that matter?
Oh, let me guess. This conveniently makes it so that there'll be a misunderstanding because they couldn't hear it on the communicator.
Kinda, yes, but not really. You'll see. That being said, why? Why do we need to stop communicating via the communicator thingy? Like, what is the reason?
Everyone is intercepting those.
My main answer would be it's a plot contrivance for a means to an end story-wise. As to why, practically in the sense of a story, I have no clue. It's not like radio interference or like there's somebody who can like hijack their signal or something.
While we're at it, there's something that I'm curious about. But I guess I could even ask later, so feel free to tell me an answer later if you had to, Pedro. But I'm curious, with a game like this, I never bothered to check. How's the trophy list?
For the trophy list is very... a lot of people say that it's easy. And yeah, it is an easy trophy list. It just takes a long time to get them because basically the game forces you to hold every weapon. It forces you to kill enemies with every weapon. Like they're grindy, but they're not
like that space.
So it's not particularly. I mean, you can easily get it if, but I personally don't. I find this game to be utterly soul-crushingly boring, so I'm not going to bother.
So according to the game, we are now in the West Wing, which we need to clear.
I need to remind you, everybody, that Galahad is supposed to be our protagonist that we're supposed to root for. And here he is, murdering innocent constables left and right.
You were talking... Yeah, now we're pulling full on the narrative dissonance. Also, Jova, you were talking about the plots intermingling. Don't forget, there's been something hinting about Jack the Ripper since the beginning of the game. I haven't seen anything yet.
I completely forgot about that because that has literally not really been talked about since then. But now that you reminded me, yeah, that's eventually going to come up later. Jesus Christ.
Also, the cover...
And look.
Go on.
Let me repeat. You can make this sort of stuff work with the right execution.
Well, yeah.
Tying all the plots together so that they...
That goes without saying, Joe.
That was cheap.
Yeah,
I mean, that point literally applies to everything. Literally every... For example, 4 turtles that are mutant and ninjas and they were raised by a rat. That sounds like an incredibly stupid idea. And look at that. 30 years later, it's still one of the most beloved and recognizable franchises in media history. So
I bring this up because it feels like the writers clearly did not get the memo here. Well, granted, okay. I think my diagnosis would be that, again, they really just threw everything they could into the story out of a fear that they wouldn't get to make another game, even ignoring the fact that what we are left with is at best cliffhangers, which is unsatisfying as they are. I don't even really care enough to demand for a sequel.
Also, the cover system in this game...
That's a bad sign.
Also, the cover system in this game is not particularly great. Sometimes there are a lot of times where I wish I could peek, but I can't peek for some reason. I don't understand it. Why is it that only Uncharted... Gears and Phantom Pain know how to get this shit right? Like, is it really that difficult?
I feel like there are other games out there, but I'll admit,
playing
I'm not as
recently. I
familiar
started
with.
finally playing recently the Mass Effect games on my own, and I can tell you that their cover system is just as fine.
Okay, then.
This genre games isn't exactly my forte, but I'm pretty sure that it's the norm to get this.
I actually got myself.
I played...
Sorry.
Sorry, go.
I actually got myself the Fitgo repacks of the original PC versions of those because I took a look at some comparison videos. I personally prefer the way the original games looked, so I'm going to stick with the original PC versions personally.
Of Mass Effect?
Yeah, when I eventually get to those.
Well, whatever. Anyway, forgot what I was going to say.
We were talking about games that do the cover system.
Right, I did play also Gears clone that is called Inversion, but not
I've heard
great.
of that one.
It's a shooter, but if I recall correctly, it was developed by an Eastern European developer. Don't quote me entirely.
That being said, sorry.
Saigon.
That being said, I'll give it 1 point for this game. At the very least, it has a cover system, unlike a certain other shooter we played in years ago. Seriously, who the hell makes a cover-based shooter without a cover system? Isn't that like making that's literally making a platform game without the platforms.
Even Bobsy knows that.
Wow. That game, it was certainly.
I know it's a joke.
Although...
Yeah, it's meant to be a joke, but yeah, you see what I mean? Like that, the QTE for some reason didn't pop up properly. I get that he was in front of me, but I still should have been able to tackle him. I can in other games. I think the problem is that the whole takedown mechanic is so super specific. You have to be in a very specific position for it to work, and it's just like there's no flexibility in how you can play this. Like you have to play the exact specific way that the developers intended.
My main guess is, again, they want to do it for immersion's sake, but here's my rebuttal to games that make stuff difficult just for the sake of immersing the player here. Unless your game has all the bells and whistles that can at least make something like that feel fair, you're better off not doing it. Otherwise, you're just going to get rightful complaints about it.
It's one of those things where, like, I mean, just to finish my point, like, I mean, I know that when Bubsy said that in Bubsy 3D, it was a joke, but no, like, Quantum Break is literally an actual real case of a platform game without the platformers, or in this case, a cover-based shooter without the cover system, which, in my opinion, makes no sense. Why would you make a game like that?
Like, I do get that there was all manner of tomfoolery going on with that game, but God, it is really disappointing how it turned out. Like, that game went from being it went from looking like one of the saving graces of the Xbox One to one of the biggest laughing stocks in the game industry for quite some time.
I'm still convinced that game was meant to have. Remember, that game was originally was going to have a full-blown TV show. I genuinely would love a what happened of that game as well, because I'm convinced that there's a shit ton of content that was cut from the final thing, as well as a lot of TV episodes that were not made.
Remember, the idea with the TV series was that it was going to be one of many Xbox One original TV series that would tie in with the games. And
remember, the reason Quantum Break did that.
The impact of the other.
Yeah, the reason Quantum Break did that is because they wanted to actually use the whole Xbox One TVT thingy as an actual thing that would actually be used in an actual game. So that was going to be the proper game that would show off what the Xbox.
I won't deny it.
The most ironic thing is that I argue instead in this day and age, nowadays, like 10 years later, where the world is a bit more connected and the cross-media type of franchise is actually more accepted, I think an initiative like that would have worked.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, the idea did have potential there. It would be a way for maybe TV goers to see things through video gamers' eyes, and for video gamers to see the good potential of, again, other bouts of media aside from the video game stuff here.
Yeah, I'm not.
Did you notice? Did you notice the QTE just now? See, the reason I didn't delete this part is because I wanted to see it.
What I noticed is the animation. I think the QTE is what happens after, because the game has to register first the animation of Galahad switching from the ranged weapon to the knife.
Wait, what? How did he see you then?
I have no fucking clue, Jova.
Corner peeking.
Wow.
Okay, I will say, okay, I know I sometimes compare Hitman positively to things, but this is one area I think, occasionally, sometimes, characters can see you doing illegal things, despite being, like, quite a bit away and have no direct line of sight to you.
Not just that,
Curious. So you talk about the first Hitman game?
The more recent ones, yeah.
Even in general, I think it's
Alright.
been a staple of the franchise. Also, a lot of characters recognizing your disguise, even if we absolutely have no idea that you should be, someone else.
Okay, now the more recent games got around that issue by having special, like some characters have dots over their heads that signifies they're quote enforcers, and they'll see through certain disguises that you're wearing.
And now it worked. Seriously, just the previous time I tried, the QTE, like, sometimes the QTE bit shows up and then it immediately disappears right after. I have no fucking clue what the hell is wrong with this QTE. Like,
this
like
might
I said,
be...
it's dependent on the animation of the Galahad does, plus your distance towards the guard. I think the previous time you got too close and the guard registered that and started turning around, in which case it cancelled immediately the animation.
It's official. In terms of games that were supposed to be big IPs for the PS4, I'm having trouble deciding whether this was more or less joyless than Knack.
DC is probably easier to play, but I argue Knack is actually much better compared to this.
no, Knack has more. Knack is more. Knack is an actual game, at least.
And even on a story-wise, sure, it's unfocused, but I argue it's more entertaining.
No, Knack at the very least. Knack can at the very least be a good, riff. Riffing. It can at the very least be good enough riffing material. This is just.
The problem with this game is that it forgets it's a game. And the parts that do remember they're a game can be needlessly cheap.
Yeah. I hate this stealth section.
Yeah, I mean,
it goes as you can see, this section goes on for a while. Like,
yeah,
it does. This is still I've said it before, and I'll say it again. This is still going. This has been practically a running catchphrase for this game.
Is it like if someone saw that section in Half-Life where they remove your weapons and you have to work with just minor stealth and said, "Cool, let's make this." Something like that, but unnecessarily complicated, going on forever.
Again, I really do want a what happened of this game, because I just gotta know what was the thought process behind a lot of this game.
Well, we do know.
There
have been YouTubers that have made videos documenting the history of this game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Goody, a sewage canal.
No, that's the thing too. It's only a small passage to the other side of the thing. It's not actually a sewer level.
I think it's a good representation, though, because sewer levels tend to be the ones that pad stuff out so much. So.
Okay, we're done with the blood. That's the last of the bloody stealth section. Thank you very much. Jesus.
Hooray. What?
Oh?
Lakshmi, what are you doing here?
Oh, wait,
I think you were supposed to shoot.
I know, but I wanted to see what would happen if I didn't.
Wow. Dude, I'm just gonna stand here while someone shoots at me.
Yeah, honestly, Lakshmi's kind of a bit of a questionable leader, because it seems like, ironically, if it weren't for a flipping Knight of the Round, she, the leader of the Resistance, would be dead, unless this is her body double.
No, you can actually, when they're both next to each other, you can actually tell which one it is, because they have very different faces.
Was one situation, body double and everything, but when they're next to each other, you can tell.
Yep.
But seriously, though, Lakshmi, you nearly got yourself killed. That, shoot, I guess that would have been it.
Hold on. You could not risk involving your squad? You could not even risk involving...
Late for that.
I guess it shows that she cares for him and doesn't want him to throw his life away.
No. I'm talking about what Galahad said. Galahad said that the reason he didn't bring in anyone aside from Lucan is because he couldn't risk involving his squad. What do you mean you couldn't? Again, I can kind of roll with Galahad. Sorry, not Galahad. Lafayette. But But like I said before, I still don't buy. I'm with Dark Lord Jedi 1 on this one. I don't buy the whole thing where he doesn't even trust Igraine, considering they supposedly go back a long time for centuries at this point.
Again, here's
also, sorry,
my
Pedro,
problem.
did you mention that was the last of the stealth section? Because
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about this.
Otherwise,
I forgot about. Well, okay. If I remember correctly, this bit doesn't go on for too long. If I remember correctly.
But yeah, no, the real big problem with Galahad not trusting certain people is like, well, he trusts people that he should trust less. Okay, granted, I get it. The High Lord Commander, that's who he would report it to. You know, ignoring the possibility that the guy in charge might be the corrupt one, but why does he let Lucan in on it too?
So let me get this straight. You cannot trust Igraine, your protege that you trained yourself and you've known for centuries. But I mean, you seem like you seem like you're more intimate with her than you are with Lucan. So how come you can trust Lucan but not Igraine? That doesn't make any sense.
I suppose the idea is that he knows Lucan more, but guess what? The game has done jack diddle to emphasize his relationship with Lucan. So for all we know, he knows Lucan less than Igraine.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, they seem. I mean, it doesn't seem like Lucan and Galahad talk to each other all that often based on this story. Go on.
I probably should ask Shirei, but I wondered if maybe you know about this. Does the UK still have tea leaves in metal boxes in terms of selling the product?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Oh, look at that, guys. Here's Galahad literally with the rebels after having killed some of the company guard. I'm sure this can't fire on.
I will give Lakshmi and the rebels some credit. They are incredibly forgiving, considering this guy murdered a whole ton of them.
I guess their idea is, well, we killed his friend, so I guess that makes us even.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. Percival, when you get right onto it, it wasn't really the rebels that killed Percival. Percival died out of his own stupidity, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, if I recall correctly, it was still that rebel member who activated the bomb that killed Percival.
But that is true. But Percival still didn't put himself in the line of fire.
Well, the story doesn't want to acknowledge that. We need to think of Percival as a hero.
And a martyr.
Yeah. Problem is, he was about as interesting as a post.
Again, I am amazed at the lengths Galahad is going here. Like, again, he is working with the people who... Yes, if I recall correctly, the same day he was gunning down in blind rage because they killed his friend. Remember, he's doing this after killing company guard. So if he's seen with the rebels now, well, yeah.
Two things.
Stuff.
Lakshmi is still bland as shit, so I don't give a crap about her. Second, I still have no idea who these rebels are, what they're rebelling against, and why. What is their primary goal?
Against the United. Well, they're rebelling against the United Trading Company.
Okay. So supposedly the idea is that they're trying to stop Lord Hastings from spreading vampires all over the world. Okay, how did they find out this out to begin with? Like, how did this whole thing start? Like, are you considering this game loves its world building? You'd think they would talk more about the lore of how this all first started.
You see, Pedro, they had top men working on it.
What?
Top men.
Huh. Anyway,
I don't know if it's mentioned maybe either an audio log or in a collectible, but considering again Lakshmi hails from the British colonies of the Southeastern Asia. I wonder if it's yes.
If I recall correctly, she's historically supposed to be dead, so.
No, I'm talking about that. I'm talking about the fact
hold on. I was going somewhere with this. I'm guessing the idea is that after her historical death, either she got revived or she just faked her death, came over, did some undercover work, and that's how she figured out about the
vampires. No, I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about the fact also that, again, considering the idea is that shipment was supposed to go to America, it was more of a fact that the vampires started from the UK and got sent to the different colonies, meaning that at some point, some might have arrived there, and, you know, some people especially in high position of power noticed that.
So what you're saying is that this is a prequel to Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Like I said, think of also a mixture between League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and the World of Darkness tabletop.
Alright, this section.
I guess that works too.
Alright, so in the next part we'll continue shooting through more guards. Yeah.
Especially
This
the shotgun
really
armed
is-
people.
This really is still going.
Alright.
Crawl away.
Chug,
jump
chug,
away.
chug, chug, chug. There you go. You're okay.
For now.
Or not.
Yeah, it was on your right.
And Galahad died. There you go.
The end.
You wish.
You know what? Let's just pause here so I can take a break. See you for the next part.
Yeah.
Take care.